Thank you for staying with us. So what was it like to be a serving soldier from Trinidad in the 1960s, serve in the Gulf of Aden, and rise through the ranks to become a decorated Queen's Color Squadron officer whose unit handled the dignified return of Princess Diana's coffin from Paris in 1997? That's only part of the story of Trinidadian Royal Air Force Regiment Peter Bacchus, who sat down with Roger Dwarika and delved into his memories of military achievement in what was at the time a very white man's army. Here's part one of his exclusive story.
Britain 1960, a city of heavy, dense smog, biting cold, and an indigenous population for which the word multiculturalism wasn't even thought of. Enter into that time period a young black man called Peter Bacchus, who, like many non-whites from the former West Indian colonies, had spent half a month on a steamship heading to the UK to study, to seek job prospects, or to see where destiny leads. For young Bacchus, the road came after doing a few menial jobs and passing by a South London military recruitment centre.
One day I'm walking through Croydon. I saw the Navy, the Army and the Air Force. So I wondered, why don't you go in the Navy? I went to the Navy and they told me I failed. So I left there. I didn't want to go into the Army and went. The next one was the Air Force. I went in there and they told me I passed with flying colors.
In the 1950s and 60s, being non-white in the UK was unlike the United States, where segregation was the norm. Racism existed, but Britain was slowly getting used to the idea of outsiders from the Commonwealth territories arriving on her shores.
It was no Irish, no dogs, and then no blacks. Blacks were always the last.
For the young recruit in the white man's Air Force Regiment, entering the elite world was a case of art imitating life.
Ha! Would you like to drill with these men? Anything you order, I can do, sir. Pity I won't say it. You can't drill with them. You're black. I already know that, sir. I only take notice of one thing. The book, King's Rules and Regulations, laid down in black and white that Hottentots, pursuiters, voodoo boys, and sons of witch doctors do their square bashing separate and away from white men. I'm a British subject from the West Indies. You're black. That makes me happy when I see some white men, sir.
However, for aircraft man Bacchus, fortune once again smiled with a leadership position of his squad.
You have great ideas if you go into the Air Force. You hear about pilots and, aircraft fitters and things like that. So I said, well, I'd like to be an aircraft fitter. Well, this is where I realized a little color thing came in. But there's the regiment. I was lucky enough because there were about 12 or 13 of us, and they put me in charge of the group, and the only black person. The guys were very appreciative of me.
Square bashing and constant drills followed, but AC Bacchus won respect and merit, he being only one of 4 black men out of 400 personnel at RAF Grantham. From initial training came passing out and a commission to RAF Catterick.
Then I met blacks. When I went up to there, these guys were in the Air Force before me,
West Indies?
All West Indies. Especially these 5 guys, they were my mates. And we form a bond. We're in the same company, 48 Field Squadron. But I'm now coming in as a new guy. But funny, they always accepted me as their leader.
Not long after, the Battle of Aden beckoned, and aircraft man Peter Bacchus would get his first experience of war and conflict in the Middle East. Roger Dwarika, C News.